Right now, there is $1.77 trillion worth of goods sitting on shelves across the United States. And 73% of the warehouses managing that inventory are still relying on manual processes. Clipboards, spreadsheets, guesswork. That is the warehouse problem, and it is costing the industry billions every single year. Let me put this in perspective. The average warehouse loses 3,000 hours per year just from inefficient picking routes alone. That is the equivalent of 1.5 full-time employees doing nothing but walking in circles. Manual inventory counts create a 25 to 35% discrepancy between what the records say and what is actually on the shelf. So when a customer places an order, there is a real chance the product you think you have is not actually there. A single misshipment costs between $50 and $300 when you factor in returns processing, reshipping, customer service time, and lost customer trust. Scale that across hundreds or thousands of orders per day, and you start to see why this problem is so expensive. Worker turnover makes everything worse. The warehouse industry has a 36% annual turnover rate, which means more than a third of your workforce is new every single year. Each new hire takes weeks to reach full productivity, and during that ramp-up period, error rates spike significantly. Without a system to guide them, new workers are essentially guessing where products are, which path to walk, and how to process orders correctly. And then there is the visibility problem. Without real-time data, stockouts and overstock become a daily guessing game. Managers are making decisions based on reports that are already 24 to 72 hours old. By the time they spot a problem, it has already cascaded into missed orders, unhappy customers, and lost revenue. The math is clear. Most warehouses today are operating at just 60 to 70% efficiency. That means 30 to 40% of their potential throughput is being wasted. A warehouse management system closes that gap by replacing guesswork with real-time, data-driven intelligence. And that is exactly what we are going to break down in this video. So what exactly is a warehouse management system, and how does it actually work? At its core, a WMS is software that controls and optimizes every movement inside your warehouse, from the moment goods arrive at the loading dock to the moment they ship out the door. Think of it as the operating system of your warehouse. Every WMS handles 5 core functions. Let me walk you through each one. The first function is receiving and put away. When a shipment arrives at your dock, the WMS takes over immediately. Workers scan each item using barcode scanners or RFID tags. The system validates the shipment against the purchase order, checking quantities, SKU numbers, and condition. If anything is wrong, it flags it right away before the product even enters your warehouse. Then comes the smart part. Instead of letting workers put items wherever they find empty space, the WMS assigns the optimal storage location for every single item. It considers factors like how fast the product sells, its physical dimensions, its weight, whether it needs special storage conditions, and most importantly, where it needs to be positioned relative to the packing stations to minimize travel time during picking. This is called slotting, and it alone can reduce picking time by 15 to 25%. The second function is inventory management. A WMS gives you real-time visibility into every item in your warehouse. Not just how many units you have, but exactly which bin, shelf, and aisle each item is sitting in. It tracks lot numbers, expiration dates, and serial numbers automatically. Cycle counts replace the old practice of shutting down the warehouse for annual physical inventory. Instead, the system continuously counts small sections throughout the day, maintaining 99% plus accuracy without any downtime. And when stock drops below your reorder threshold, the system triggers automatic purchase orders so you never run out of your best sellers. The third function is order picking, and this is where a WMS really shines. When orders come in, the system does not just hand workers a pick list and send them into the warehouse blind. It generates optimized pick paths that route workers through the warehouse in the most efficient sequence possible, eliminating backtracking and unnecessary travel. There are several picking strategies a WMS supports. Single order picking is the simplest, one order at a time. Batch picking groups multiple orders with the same items, so a worker picks for several orders simultaneously. Wave picking releases groups of orders at scheduled intervals to balance workload throughout the day. And zone picking assigns workers to specific areas so they become experts in their zone and never waste time crossing the entire warehouse. The WMS automatically selects the best strategy based on order volume, complexity, and your operational constraints. The fourth function is packing and shipping. After items are picked, the WMS validates that every order is 100% correct before it leaves. Workers scan each item and the system confirms the right product, the right quantity, and the right destination. This is the last line of defense against shipping errors. The system then selects the best carrier and service level based on cost, delivery speed, and package dimensions. It generates shipping labels, packing slips, and customs documents automatically, and it tracks every outbound shipment in real time. The fifth and final core function is reporting and analytics. A WMS dashboard gives you visibility into everything that is happening in your operation. You can see real-time metrics like orders per hour, pick accuracy rates, dock-to-stock time, and labor productivity by worker, by shift, and by zone. More importantly, it identifies bottlenecks before they become crises. If picking in Zone C is suddenly 40% slower than normal, you know about it in minutes, not days. Put all 5 functions together, and you have a system that orchestrates every single movement from dock to door. Workers always know exactly what to do, where to go, and in what order. Managers always know exactly how the operation is performing. And customers always get the right product, on time, every time. Now let us talk about the numbers, because ultimately this comes down to return on investment. Is a WMS worth the cost? The data says absolutely yes. Companies that implement a WMS see an average 25% reduction in operating costs. Inventory accuracy jumps from 63% with manual systems to 99.5% with a WMS. Order fulfillment speed improves by 30%, and labor productivity increases by 20 to 30%. Let me break down where those savings come from. The biggest win is labor efficiency. In most warehouses, labor is 50 to 70% of total operating costs. When you optimize picking routes, you eliminate thousands of unnecessary walking miles per year. When you automate task assignment, workers spend less time waiting for instructions and more time actually picking, packing, and shipping. A WMS typically reduces labor costs by 20 to 30%, and in a warehouse, spending $2 million per year on labor, that is $400,000 to $600,000 in annual savings. The second area is inventory accuracy. When your records say you have 500 units of a product, but you actually have 420, 2 things happen. First, you sell product you do not have, leading to stockouts, back orders, and angry customers. Second, you do not reorder soon enough because your system thinks you are fully stocked. This cycle of phantom inventory costs the average warehouse hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. A WMS eliminates this by maintaining real-time accuracy above 99%. The third area is space utilization. Most warehouses use only 55 to 65% of their available space effectively. A WMS optimizes slotting and storage allocation to push that above 80%. This means you can handle more inventory, more orders, and more throughput without expanding your physical footprint. When you consider that warehouse space costs $7 to $12 per square foot per year, improving utilization by 15 to 20% can save tens of thousands of dollars annually. The fourth area is shipping accuracy. Misships happen when the wrong product, wrong quantity, or wrong destination gets packed. Each one costs $50 to $300 in direct costs, plus the harder-to-measure impact on customer trust. A WMS with scan verification reduces shipping errors by 80 to 95%. For a warehouse, shipping 1,000 orders per day with a 3% error rate, that is 30 fewer errors per day, saving $1,500 to $9,000 daily. Now here's the timeline. Most companies see full ROI within 12 to 18 months, with some reporting payback in under 6 months. Cloud-based WMS solutions have changed the economics dramatically. You no longer need a massive upfront investment. Subscription pricing starts at $3,000 to $5,000 per month, with no hardware to buy and no IT infrastructure to maintain. And the ROI compounds over time. A study by Nucleus Research found that mid-market companies using a dedicated WMS achieve a 340% return on investment over 3 years. Year 1 is about implementation and learning. Year 2 is when optimization kicks in and the numbers start accelerating. By year 3, the system is fully dialed in and the savings are dramatic. The bottom line is this. If your warehouse is still running on spreadsheets and gut feelings, the data is unambiguous. A WMS is not a luxury for large enterprises. It is the baseline for competing in modern supply chain. Every day you wait, you are leaving money on the table and falling further behind competitors who have already made the switch. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe to CerebroChain for weekly supply chain intelligence. We publish new deep dives every week on WMS, logistics, AI, and analytics. Hit the bell so you never miss a video. And try CerebroChain free at CerebroChain.com. Our 3-hemisphere neural intelligence platform gives you enterprise-grade WMS capabilities from day one.